Hi, hello. Just waiting for my presentation to come on, but thank you for having me here. It's quite an honor to join the lineage of Arab Balki as a speaker, so it's amazing, thank you. I was almost not going to be the first speaker because of some technical glitches, but I'm glad I am because, full disclosure, I know very little about AI. So that's like setting a very low benchmark for anything AI related that will happen after this. But there's a lot of other things I will try to pack in the next 20 odd minutes or so. And we'll try to weave in some human and some AI within all of that. So starting with a little human me, I was always the kid who was drawing all the time, being creative, quiet little one. But what you see here is I used to help my dad with animations. He was an animator besides a lot of other things. And that's me doing little painting on cell animation because there was no computers that time, and he had sheets and sheets of cells that he needed to be worked upon. He was also the professor of art direction at the Film Institute, and a large chunk of my childhood went inside these gates, experiencing all those conversations, the films, just taking in all that atmosphere, and that formed a large part of my creative upbringing. I wanted to, of course, therefore join Film Institute growing up and looking at all of that. But as chance would have it, I got into IDC, Industrial Design Center at IIT Bombay, and that opened up my mind, again, in a very different way in terms of what design really means, what design stands for, what its role is in the larger scheme of things, especially also looking at how the Indian context or how the Indian culture can be woven into meaningful design solutions. And the cities that these institutes house sort of evoke these emotions within me. Pune, of course, because I'm born and raised there, and Bombay, where I studied and now I work. And these two emotions have largely guided me throughout in terms of whatever I do or what I continue to do. Because I love what I do more of that. And admiration takes me to places and people that I admire or aspire to work with, to be with. And one such path of admiration took me to a place very many years ago. I had always admired to work with Elephant. The two people who are responsible for me entering Elephant and me thriving at Elephant are in this room, so no pressure but full pressure. And as you can see, it was one big, large family, a lot of fun things. I learned a lot in terms of working with complex projects, complex briefs, interdisciplinary teams. And it was always like one large family that fit in one screen. And after spending a good amount of my career so far over there in this sort of an environment, what I moved into was this. And I'm sure all of us had this reality at some point for those 2 years in our lives. But what was different from me, other than moving from offline to online, was also a complete change of scenario, because I came to Conran Design Group to start their India offering. So there was no team in place. I moved cities, a completely alien environment, and literally worked with a team who I hadn't met neck down for the first 6 or 7 odd months. So we got to know each other. This was literally the 3 people who were there for the first few months, and then a handful of people who actually went on to, starting on working on real projects. And it was not easy. But right off the bat, we worked on a very large pharma rebranding project. And I always joke that we delivered that project with a designer and a half, because I had one full-time junior designer and one part-time consultant. But in the same context, in the same period, sort of pharma companies were evaluating their place, in the lives of people. And we rebranded one such leading pharma company to change their narrative from being just makers of medicine to nurturers of health, and sort of make that narrative all about people, all about communities, and the people who actually, what they created served for. So it was, at the face value, it can look like a normal rebrand project, but Zydus changed their identity after 30 years of existing in this personality and these clothes. So it was a huge leap for a brand of that stature to change completely and take on a completely new narrative. So not just the identity, it was a large exercise. We changed across 4 continents, all their subsidiaries, entities, created a brand toolkit, some ownable brand devices, and that's just sort of led into some interesting journeys for the brand in terms of how it's panning out into the world. So that was an interesting aspect, I thought in terms of how just focusing on a certain human aspect, a brand could completely change what it stood for. Another project that I would like to talk about is completely different in terms of the category it plays in, very far from being what the nature of the previous project was. But this was in the category of luxury, so therefore more lifestyle, so therefore obviously probably needed to go a bit more human in the way it looked or it behaved. But we sort of went back and thought, what is the New World luxury? What are the codes of New World luxury? It is not opulent, it is not dark, it is not about people posing in a fancy way, but it was something that was unexpected. It was something that was maybe with a little bit of a whimsy, and maybe a lot lighter and not dark. So we created this very interesting sort of brand world for them with 40 modular assets, and each of these pillars spoke to a certain aspect of the magical transformation that this particular brand creates in the life of the user, who is the host, incidentally, in this case. So I'll just play a little film, and maybe that gives you a better idea of what this project was about. Sorry, the volume. I'm going to go back. Right, so it's been a good run so far, and that project was again created about a year and a half ago. Maybe if we were to do it now, we would try and use a little bit more AI, I don't know. But when we created that project, again, it was a lot of use of tech, worked with very young designers to create this sort of extensive world. But it's been a good run so far, and these are sort of statistics only of the last year, which is the 3rd year of inception of Conrad Design Mumbai. We were Agency of the Year last year, more than 18 awards within a year, and of course a lot of jury representations, both on a national and a global level. But of course, speaking about the lion of the awards, and just a quick few statistics or facts on the largeness of the event, and really, the amount of entries that come in, the amount of countries that participate, but also this. This was the statistic of 2024. And I went in with a lot of expectation of maybe there'll be a lot of tech this and AI that, and I'm going to get to learn something new about this world of AI. But I was delightfully surprised to see that a lot of work was analog, a lot of it was about genuine crafting, but done in very different ways. Just a little trivia, this is also interesting because newer countries come into the fold and then they set benchmarks for more people to follow and sort of create path-breaking work. Coming specifically to Design Lion, which, of course, I was the jury on the category. One of the categories that enjoys maximum number of entries, because everything gets entered in design, whether regardless of what execution it is. But surprisingly, large amount of entries that get unawarded at the end of it. So it's an extremely stringent process. It's very intense over a couple of few months. It's not just the awarding jury, it's also a shortlist jury that's judging these entries virtually. So just speaking about then quickly, what is it that gets noticed or gets sort of looked at as award-winning entries. A very diverse jury, as you can see from literally every corner of the world. Very different perspectives coming from different cultures, domains, digital, advertising, creative, independent agencies, network agencies. So very, very varied perspectives coming to the table, which makes it very enriching as well. Specifically about the work, and like I said, what stood out, always what stands out is, regardless of whether you're, being subject to a book or a film or a piece of art, piece of creative, this is something that's constant and definitely always tugs a chord when somebody's looking at it. But human emotion at a universal level is the same, right? Whether somebody is from a certain part of region, from a country, human emotions more or less are the same, but what gives it the added texture, what gives it the added narrative is a certain cultural insight. If it's coming from a certain specific issue or a problem from a certain culture, definitely makes it a standout. And this is something that I saw a lot, where it was not just about crafting something in a certain way, but how differently was it deployed, how differently was it thought about, did it make somebody just sit up and say, wow, how did it think of doing this? But how did it get deployed, and what really mattered in terms of how the narrative was said? Like we say, it's most difficult to do things in the simplest manner. So not overtly complex, not overtly crafted, but just in the most simple manner. Questioning status quo, it could be in the way certain things are done, questioning brand guidelines, defying brand guidelines and doing something out of the box, or even questioning certain societal norms or questioning authorities. And this is most important because a lot of times things get said that entries are made for awards, and all the juries have a very strong bullshit meter. So anything that is made just for the sake of it gets put to the side immediately. So authenticity of intent is extremely important. This is the first piece of work I want to talk about. This won the Grand Prix in the design category. It's called SiteWorks. A very, very simple solution, brilliantly executed. It is at an initial stage right now, but it's open source, so it can go on to be part of the larger geographies. I'll just play the film for you to get a better idea.
The main disability is visual impairment. Despite this, Only some districts in Lima have tactile tiles, a universal system that directs and alerts blind people through the streets. This helps them, but it's not enough.
Tenemos que estar dependientes de una persona que ve. Si no, estamos buscando, pues, quién nos ayude, ¿no? Al menos que para saber qué es farmacia, tienda, banco, qué es, ¿no?
That's why Sol, the leading Peruvian cement brand, and the district of Miraflores present Sidewalks. In collaboration with different organizations for the blind, we designed a new system that allows them to find the places they need by themselves. A horizontal line tells you to count the following lines to decode. We implemented sidewalks around the city and taught people how to use it, improving their lives for good.
Ponemos a disposición este proyecto, creando así una actividad multiplicadora que ayuda a las personas a tener mayor independencia.
All the information is open source to encourage other cities to implement it. Sidewalks, Cemento Sol.
Also, the association of the right brand, the partnership of a cement company partnering with the agency to create something like this also makes it a lot more meaningful. It makes it a lot more authentic. Quickly moving on to the next one, this won a gold. It's a book and an exhibition that was created to speak about Black history that was systematically erased or has been systematically erased since very many years. So there's very little information about what Black people have contributed to the development. And I won't play the whole film, but I'll just play a little bit of the magic of the craft.
To call attention to historical erasure, we wrote a book of stories that appear to have been erased, with missing parts, representing the lack of information about Black history. And those stories remain invisible, unless you use a light, a black light, to bring them back. The book was printed using special ink that can only be read under a black light. Each page introduces readers to brilliant researchers, writers, artists, scientists, engineers, and many, many more illustrious Black people.
So again, culturally very strong insights, beautifully crafted, and I mean, it's just, they send the physical samples in the jury room, and when you look at some of these things, it's the craft that's becoming the narrative, and it's not supplementing a narrative, right? And that was the beauty of this piece. And there's another piece where I didn't know what umbrella species were unless I came across this particular case study while I was judging. And umbrella species essentially is if you save a particular species, there is a set of species that benefits or thrives as a result of that. So it's not just one particular species you're saving, but it's an entire ecosystem. And the task was just to make people aware of this. And this could have easily been a beautiful looking website, or it could have been a book or a brochure. But they created these interesting nesting dolls, and each of the nesting doll was telling its own story of what the umbrella species means and what it saves. Again, beautiful crafting. There was a lot of explanation of the process of how it was done. It was done by 4 different illustrators. So even these things matter when the jury is looking at work, right? If there is a process explained, if there is authenticity to who has done and worked on the craft. And this was, again, we looked at the physical samples. It was just something very beautifully crafted. I won't play the film for this in the interest of time. And this was the only entry in the gold. There were 5 golds that won that used some amount of AI. Again, very meaningfully incorporated. It's not that the project exists because it has AI, but the project found out a particular problem to solve, and AI was used to solve that particular problem. So this is essentially an app that uses haptic vibrations for people with speech disorders. And though it was a very complex sort of a problem, the solution was very simple to use interface. They had things like, impulse for your tone, speech, rhythm, voice. And they do have results, which is, again, very important. It's not just done something to showcase at a global award event, but they have impact and they have results to follow up with that. So this was a very interesting piece of work as well. So very quickly, I can talk for a long time on some of the other entries, and I would love to share some of those with you. But in summary, what really stood out, or what was the takeaway for me and maybe some of the young creative people in this room is, like I said initially, it's great to have these brand models and strategic discussions, but eventually what stands out is some of those human and cultural stories. Medical intervention specifically got a lot of eyeballs because there were a lot of those this year. Most of the work that you saw right now, I don't think was a brief that came from a client in a written manner and then you solved for it, right? A lot of these briefs were probably thought by the creative agencies, by the creative people. So we are going to have to, sort of go out there, mine these stories, mine these insights, and co-create these briefs, or go with these briefs to the clients or sponsors and, co-create them in terms of creation as well. It was a crazy amount of different ways of deploying creative projects that I got to see. There was food used to showcase, pollution levels. There were posters made with bandages that nurses used in World War II. There was embroidery used to show mental disabilities. There was wooden dolls that you saw. So there was just, like I said, tech and AI was a very small part of what were these different ways of deploying some of these narratives. One of my favorite categories was data visualization, and I could never imagine that data can be projected and can be used in such meaningful manners. So again, a big learning for me that data needn't be sitting in some corner on some Excel sheet somewhere, and you use some different ways to tell that story, but the data itself can become the storyteller. People have already started working for Cannes 2025. People have already been working for Cannes 2025 because it's not just the sheer amount of time that the execution of the project takes, it's also about the time you need to give it to live, breathe, and have a certain impact, like you saw in the case of maybe the Samsung watch or the tiles, where you need to give it a certain amount of time to be able to. So we really need to look at this as a project that we need to get into from early on. Like I said, get out there, look at those stories, and what are those stories that can come to the front with giving it enough love and time. So just need to get out a little bit of our holes, of our tunnels and lanes, and see what's possible. Do we have 2 minutes? I'd like to play one last film. Time up? Okay. So thank you for making the little kid me, who was a quiet, creative person, to come on a stage and speak at a design conference. Thank you.